Mic check 1 2. Can I get a check?
Back it on rewind. You just recorded all that. You trying to get myself together.
You know they heard that. Give me a mic check.
Mic check, mic check.
Okay, okay. Turn you up a little bit over here. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Okay,
Mic check.
okay.
I know they used to be being loud, but I'm not quiet.
Nah, you in your laid back voice right now.
This is my soft era.
Okay, okay. Hey, what's happening, good people? What's happening? Welcome to another One Love Entertainment episode, man, on our podcast here. I'm your host, Tug Williams, and every Monday I'm bringing it to you, man. I'm bringing it to you, and right now my special guest is in the building. Oh man, icon. Miss Cheryl Lindsay, aka Diva Damone, is in the building. How you doing, Cheryl?
Doing great.
So I'm gonna push it up a little bit because I know you. So matter of fact, just push it.
What, do you like that?
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they can hear you.
Okay.
So first of all, I'd like to welcome you to our podcast. It's a pleasure having you, and I just want to let you know this is something that always been on my mind years.
Mm-hmm.
And I use the word icon. If somebody seen that you're going to be on the show, and they use the word icon too, and in my eyes, icon and diva, you own that.
Mm-hmm.
You own that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna let you tell the world why you own that. So introduce yourself to the world.
Okay, hello. My name is Cheryl Lindsay, aka Diva Damone, aka the greatest host of all time, aka your number one comedian, aka your decorator, your stylist. I am multiple things. I am a woman of many talents. And if you know me personally, you know this. And I'm just grateful and thankful to be here because everybody doesn't give you an invite. And I'm just happy to be invited.
You're very welcome. And we're glad to have you. Very, very, very glad to have you. So I always say the world because any and everything that I do with One Love Entertainment podcast, I want it to be viewed all over the world. So give us a little bio about yourself, sir.
Okay, I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, habitual entrepreneur. Um, Most people know me as being a hairstylist, but I'm actually a cosmetologist. There's a difference. I chose to focus on hairstyling, but a cosmetologist can do all things: nails, pedicures, manicures, pedicures, hair, makeup. We're skilled in all those things, but sometimes we hone in on what is actually easiest. And when I say easiest, I just mean something you can do in your sleep with your eyes closed. I wasn't a fan of manicuring and pedicuring and makeup at the time. Excuse me. But thank you. But I can always, excuse me, I can always do hair. As a child, I could do hair. It was effortless.
Okay.
So that was the one thing I honed in on. And everyone else knew that, oh, wow, you do that like right the book. Shoot. Maybe that fan.
Maybe. Okay. I'm sorry.
With all the everything that's going on right now.
Bosom cologne and everything.
Yes.
Oh, sure. You keep talking. I'm gonna turn that fan down.
Okay, because I noticed that even with air conditioners and fans, it gives me a little tickle. And the power is extremely strong.
We had what they call that? Oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
We had hope pollen this year.
Pollen and we ain't see summer yet. It's on its way.
No,
it's on its way.
It can't come fast enough.
But actually turning that fan off really helped because I normally have it off. But I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
So yeah, that was something that really came easily to me. It's something I did for free as a teenager.
Oh, okay.
I did my friend's hair, I did my hair, I did my family's hair. And it was brought to my attention one day through my great grandmother. God bless her soul. She came to live with us. I was 15 years old, and I washed and braided her hair every week.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, I was braiding her hair, and she turned and looked at me and said, well, she wouldn't say braid, she would say plaits. You still plaiting? Because I was going and going and going.
Right.
And she said, my hair has never been past my shoulders. God has gifted you to grow hair. My hair has never been this long. I was 15 years old when she told me that. Now then, I was just like, oh, okay, because of course you're young, you don't know. I was like, okay, I receive it. And I went on through life. And then I want to say divine intervention, because when you're that young, you're still trying to find yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And other people started bringing that up to me. Who does your hair? I do. Who cuts your hair? I do. Who styles your hair? I do. And they said, well, do you do other people's hair? And at the time I was young. No, not really. Well, that's something you should, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You should perfect doing that. As time went on, I did. I went to school for it. I became licensed in it. And I had wonderful mentors who helped me grow into a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'd ever had those people in my life, honestly, I could be, and nothing is wrong with doing a side gig, but this hasn't been my livelihood. This is just how I took care of my child, how I took care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
From the time I was licensed, even before I was licensed, I was able to work under other stylists who were dominant in the beauty business.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to build from that, them becoming my mentors and me being teachable. So they taught me how to actually make turn my gift into my career.
Cool.
So yeah, and that's what started it. It wasn't, now mind you, I always tell people now, I didn't say it then, but I tell people now, I'm a brick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you know me, you know what that means. Like, I'm a hard person. It's just like, oh yeah, what do you mean by that? And well, how are you doing that? And so, but there were people who were concrete, because in order to build bricks, you need concrete.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bricks don't survive without concrete. So I had concrete people in my life that helped build me.
That foundation.
Yes. So bricks don't stand alone.
No.
They need concrete.
Absolutely.
I had concrete.
A strong foundation.
I had that concrete.
And some of the people that helped, some of your concrete people.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know any of them?
Well, you want me to name them?
Yeah, give them some love.
Well, first off, I would like to thank Betty Young.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
The concrete of the concretest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I used to always say she was so all-knowing because she was so well-rounded. She did so many things, and she did it with ease.
Yes, she did.
And she's a person that I admired because of the beauty industry and the things that she had done in my beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to say this. Let me drink a little water.
Mm-hmm. Take the time. Don't worry about it.
Let me clear my throat.
And while you clear your throat, I just want to say too, because that was the reason why I asked you to name their names, because I remember Miss Betty Young. Mm-hmm. And you being there doing your thing, because actually Miss Betty Young was an inspiration to me as well. Mm-hmm. I went to hair school as well. Mm-hmm. And I think I met one of your other good friends while I was in school. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, continue.
Okay, so I went through a process of when I graduated from hair school, which was Gordon Phillips in 1991. I've been doing this for 33 years.
Mhm.
I was introduced to her through one of my friends who was in hair school with me, and she began working with her. And she guided me to her. She said, I think you'd be great here. You're so good at what you do. You're the type of person that they may need, because when I came out of hair school, there was a presence in the beauty industry. When you saw those people, they were like stars to you. They always looked good. They was always well kept. They was always well put together. They always spoke well, always smiling, always happy, and always had money. There was not a time that they didn't reach in their pocket and didn't pull out some money. Now, don't get me wrong. That's the icing on the cake. That's not the cake. The money is the icing on the cake. Because when you love what you do, you will do it for free. Just so happen God gives you to be able to take care of yourself. And once you hone in those gifts and you realize that's something you get paid to do, you realize you can take care of yourself off your gift.
Absolutely.
So I was introduced and I had to do a demo. Now I'm going to tell you why I say I was a brick. Because the people around me were bricks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there were people who were concrete. So when I did do my demo, I was asked, what are you going to do? So I said, I'm going to do XYZ. My specialty, in case anyone doesn't know, and I know a lot of people know, my specialty is hair cutting. I could always cut hair. That's why I say it's a gift. I didn't have to learn it. I just could do it. I was told I couldn't cut my hair until I was 16 years old. I always wanted to cut my hair. My mom told me, you can't cut your hair until you're 16. I'll let you cut it when you're 16. So on the midnight of my 16th birthday, I was so eager to cut my hair, I didn't even wait to go to a salon. I said, by 12 o'clock, I'll be 16. And when I turn 16, I might have a short haircut. And I got in the mirror and I cut my hair.
What type of style?
It was a shortcut. You know those shortcuts I used to wear all the time? All those, you might not remember. I mean, it's so far back. But I cut my hair, and what I intended for it to be, it wasn't that. But when I rerouted the style, it actually turned into something great.
Okay.
And how I know it turned into something great, because once I did it, everybody asked me to cut my hair. Who cut your hair? Oh my God, it's so nice. Who cut your hair? And when I would say I did, they would give you that. Nobody can cut their own hair. And I would say, well, I have no reason to lie. I cut my own hair. Moving forward, I go, I tell them what I'm going to do. I'm going to relax cutting style. Back then, everybody's wearing relaxers. But no, there were certain people that wore haircuts, but everybody didn't wear shortcuts. So I took my family member and I told her what I was going to do. And she said, I don't care. Do what you do. But this was the what I want to say, I don't know if I want to call it a cliffhanger. I want to call it the moment. But Paul Brundage, concrete. That's mother concrete. Tag him, Paul Brundage. Tag Betty Young. I had to do my demo in front of Paul Brundage. And he said, how long is it going to take you to do your service? Now, I've never timed that whole thing. Like, you time certain things, but you don't time the whole process.
Right.
That day, he taught me to time that process. Because when I said, oh, it's going to take me maybe an hour and a half, he said, no, it's going to take you 45 minutes. So I looked at him and said, so you want me to relax and cut and style someone's hair in 45 minutes? He said, yes, and it's possible, and you're going to do it. And with my heart beating fast, but I want to be in this space, because back then, Be Beautiful Parlor was the place to be.
Absolutely.
And if you got in there, you was in the right place, and I wanted to be there. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do this in 45 minutes.
That's the brick in you.
He put a timer next to me.
Okay.
And he said, go. And I got to going. And by the end of it, all I said was, oh man, I know I didn't get it. Even though I made the time, I did everything I was supposed to do.
I was about to ask, did you make the time?
I made the time.
Okay.
I finished the style, but to me, it wasn't perfection. And he said, you're hired. And I said, wow, I did it. And from that day forward, that was the level I was taught to be on.
Right.
The professionalism,
right.
Your timing, because time is what? Money. So if you take an hour and a half to do every client, and you're only there from say 9 to 5. You losing money.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying be quick and be insufficient.
Right.
Be sufficient though.
Right.
Hone in. Master your time. Master your craft.
Make it look good.
I was already good at cutting. I could cut. But there were things that I needed to hone in on. So, and that's what I did. I just started mastering those things that I felt like I lacked in.
That's why in the title it's Master Stylist.
Master Stylist.
Hold on, real quick. We want to send a big shout out to Michi. Michi said she missed the hair shows. Her childhood friend.
Hey, Michi.
Okay. Edward Ward, what's up, my brother? He said hello.
Hello.
Michi also says something about her no scissors.
Her no scissors?
No, you and no scissors.
Oh,
something
me and no scissors. Yeah, some people call me with scissor hands.
Okay.
And I gladly take it.
And of course, Lisa Michelle Payne, happy belated birthday. Says she just love you. Awesome.
Oh, I love Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Happy birthday.
Yes. And when you mentioned the shortcuts back then, and when I'm seeing when Lisa popped up, I think of her shortcut. And let me ask you this question: back then, the shortcuts wasn't as popular as they are now.
Well, that's not true.
No. Okay. No, that's okay. Like, school me. Because I say that because it's like right now, it's like it's a little more acceptable. If I want to, I'm speaking from. Excuse me, ladies. No disrespect. I'm just speaking from a male.
Because that's the only way we can speak from our perspective.
From a male point of view, because we the long hair and the braids and the things like that. So now when we see our beautiful women wearing the short cuts and things of that, don't get me, and it looks cool. The color and things in it. A friend of mine, her name is Spicy. She wears the red short cut. Miss Brown, the Brown, she wear her short. Yeah, I think it's cool. So. I just saying, like, I see a lot of that now. Like, did that got you a little busier or?
Actually, it's not a busier or less busy thing.
Right.
Excuse me. In I want to say high school days, when I did take cosmetology in high school. But I took business and cosmetology, and at the time, I felt like I was more interested in business, and you had to kind of like do one or the other. You remember they had the blocks, and you had to say if you want to do this and this at the same, and they go on at the same time. You had to kind of pick and choose.
Right.
So I did take cosmetology, but being young and wild and crazy, I did a lot of things in high school. I took cosmetology, I took up cooking, I took up business, and I was just kind of throwing things at the wall to see what would stick.
Of course. Yeah.
But I did know when I was a teenager, I found hairstyles were becoming boring, right? Long hair, and I don't discriminate against anyone with long hair. I love healthy, beautiful hair, period. I don't want to cut your hair short, but I would like to layer it. I would like to give it body. I would like to make it healthy. I would like for you to have a full head of hair. So I always found out, well, no, I'm not gonna say I found out. I always felt like straight long hair just needed something, you know. Usually when I was growing up and I used to get my hair done, and I used to get my hair done a lot growing up. My mother used to take me to shout out to Lorraine Cooper, Mary Cooper's on Montgomery Street back in the day. And I used to get wraps. Now, wraps, we all know what wraps were, but back then, this Mary Cooper wrap made you like you had a wig on. Like your hair was full, it was bouncy, it was flowy. And the reason I say that is because when I used to get my hair done, all the girls would pull my hair because they thought it was a wig.
Oh, wow.
And I was even unaware that even that early on, kids wore wigs. So I would, why are you pulling my hair? It was like, oh, I thought that was a wig. So I know healthy, beautiful, bouncy hair is possible. Not knowing then that I was going to be in the beauty industry.
Right.
But I knew I loved that look. I loved how it came out. I loved how I felt after my hair was done. So, but when I became bored with that, that's when I realized I wanted something else. Because when your hair is not done, when it's long hair, what does it do? It's in a ponytail. You got it in a bun. You got it until you get it done again. So I said there has to be a way where I don't have to keep wearing this ponytail. I'm tired of this ponytail. So I decided, I saw someone one day in a magazine. They had a short haircut. I think I want to say Anita Baker. And I was like, wow, I love her hair. I want that. And that's what I strived for. And I started doing that. People were wearing short haircuts, but everyone in your city can't always cut your hair. So you could say, I want this, and then you walk out with something different. Right. So when I know that I could do that, I can look at a picture and I can give you that picture. Okay. So people did want short haircuts, but there weren't people around to give them what they wanted. And just so happened, I became that person.
Okay. Marlene said she'd never seen anyone who could cut hair like you. You are the truth.
Well, thank you, Marlene.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Big John said you're a true stylist.
Oh, thank you, Big John.
Okay. And you know, going back to you were saying, you know, when a lot of women had the long hair, just do it in a ponytail, or they put it in two braids, maybe, kept it going because they didn't know how to do hair properly.
Well, some people. Now, don't get me wrong. They like that. I'm not knocking anybody who likes
We're just
their long hair. Yeah,
quick and easy.
Some women will tell you today, I'll never cut my hair. I love my hair. I don't care what it looks like. I want my hair, and that's okay. Everybody's not the same,
right? Because it's some women that have long hair but wear wigs too. Okay, so okay.
That is the ladies. That is the best part about being a woman. You can change your hair every day if you want to. Men, they can't do that. So,
listen. I put a wig on.
I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But they do have man weaves if you're ever interested.
Well, listen.
You can have a curly box wig like you used to have back in the day.
Like I had.
Okay. But men aren't, they aren't that deep when it comes to how they look.
Yeah.
So, but women, the best part about being a woman is that when they invented quick weaves and weave caps, when you said, I want a short haircut, but I don't want to cut my hair, bam, there you have it. We can do this, and then you can see if you like having short hair, if you feel like you look good with short hair, because some people feel like they don't look good with short hair, but to each his own. I say the best head of hair is a healthy, full head of hair, whether it be short, long, medium, shoulder length, past the shoulders to your ears. As long as it's healthy and full, it's a good head of hair. It doesn't matter the texture. It doesn't matter if it's curly or wavy. If it's kinky, now they got this thing where it's like the 4C hair, and They invented that.
The 4C hair?
Well, I think they gave it a 4C because nobody wants to say your hair is nappy. So they had to give it a different name because people are offended by, girl, you got some nappy hair. So people get offended by that. So, as time go on, they invent things to say about your hair just for you to be less offended. Like, you're full figured. You're not fat. You're just full figured.
I feel you. I got you.
So, they changed the wording.
That's it. I got you.
You're not older, you're distinguished.
You seasoned.
You change the word.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're mature.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, like you mentioned, healthy hair, because not only are you a stylist, you're very into your healthcare.
I'm a hair care specialist.
Hair care specialist.
Yes,
I'm sorry. Hair care specialist. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so in order to keep a healthy head of hair, you have to use good products. You have to know what's in your products. You have to know the ingredients in your products. That's the one thing about being mentored and or going to school and becoming licensed, because that's when you learn chemicals, what not to mix, what's good, what's not good. What's good for whose hair is not always good for everybody's hair.
Okay.
So I became a hair care specialist because I've always wanted my clients to have healthy hair. Mm-hmm. And I never really do anything to make their hair fall out. So I studied what should be in a product and what would be good for ethnic hair. So there were certain things I wouldn't use, certain things I wouldn't buy. I always wanted the best product. Mm-hmm. Even if it was a little more costly, mm-hmm. I still wanted the best product, because the better the product, the better the outcome. And I always knew it started at the sink. What you're shampooing with, what you're conditioning with, what you're doing, your leave-in, what you're putting on the hair to keep it strong and healthy. All that starts in what we call the sink, at the shampoo bowl. It's not in the finish. It's in the beginning. The finish is the icing on the cake. Mm. The hair is the cake, but the healthy, bouncy finish part is the icing.
Now, the products that you said that you make sure you get the best products, these are, like you said, you do your research, making sure you're getting the best products. Are any products made by yourself, homemade products by yourself, or anything like that?
Well, no. I'm going to say, in order to make hair products, you have to study chemistry.
Okay.
I know there are some people out there that do their own little mixtures. Now, I can give you some ingredients of something that I would, if I had to invent a product, but you have to make sure everybody can use it. It's more to it than just saying, I'm going to mix a couple of oils together and I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. It's a process. It's a canceling out things and what works for who, because you need something that works for everybody.
Right.
But everything doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
So, but being in school and learning these things help you determine what products you want to use. So what I was taught when I went to hair school is that the first 3 ingredients of a product is what it's mainly made up as. So if you have a product that has water, alcohol, and mineral oil in the first 3 ingredients, that's mainly that product. If you scroll down, if you keep reading down and you see a bunch of long words like epidapadol or phenylcitrol, and then it gets all the way to the last ingredient and it says olive oil, they can label their product as an olive oil product because it has a drop of olive oil. But the main ingredient is the water, the alcohol, and the mineral oil, which dries ethnic hair out. Dries it out, takes it out, makes it fall out.
Water, alcohol, and mineral
oil
dries ethnic hair
out. Now, we know we can use all those products on all those things for different things. But we need water. We drink water. We bathe in water. We need that. Alcohol, we use that. Kill germs, heal a wound. Mineral oil can be good for the skin, but it's not good for ethnic hair. All of those agents put together will dry your hair out, make it brittle, and make it shed. When I say shedding, it means when you comb your hair and you have a lot of hair in your comb, that's not normal.
Okay.
Now, hair does shed, but every single day you may have some hairs. But when you're combing your hair and you're pulling hair out the comb, as some of us have done at some point, and you're like you have a glob of hair in your hand, that's not normal. Something's wrong. But a lot of people think that's normal. They don't even realize the product they're using, the shampoo that they're using, the conditioner that they're using is actually going in reverse. It's not taking care of their hair. It's actually making it worse.
Wow.
So always seek a professional. You don't always have to pay for advice. But if you know somebody in the beauty business and you're skeptical about a product, ask somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us have gotten away from asking our professionals about certain things because everybody's not professional. But then find somebody who is. You know, somebody you rely on, you believe in, somebody you've known for years, and say, you know what, I don't know, but I know I can grow on eggs. You should do that, and that's with anything.
Yeah, of course. And
the auto mechanic, the roof repairer, like if I want to get my roof repaired, I'm not gonna call my plumber and say, hey, you know, my roof is leaking. He's gonna be like, so what you calling me for? You call me for the toilet and the pipes. I don't know nothing about the roof.
You can call somebody that knows what they're doing, knows what they're talking about, you know what I'm saying? They've got experience in this situation, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the proof is in the pudding. When we see you, your hair is on point, and your clients, you know, hey, they go, you know, I call my clients, you know, you know, so yes.
See my client.
Yeah, there you go. See, yes. Your resume is on. So, well, moving right along, we do know you're a master stylist, and you know, your name speaks for itself out here in these, not just the city streets. I'm going to get into that in a minute, because I like to look at when you were saying earlier how I used to look at the stylists, and they always had money. They smiling, and they it was like you had to be around it because they were like the stars. You know what I'm saying?
The energy,
the energy, doing hair for the stars. You know what I'm saying? It's like back in the day, the skit production shows, the fashion shows, and the you know, even the limelight to the day. Without the stylists, get everybody right, man. You know. Y'all were the celebrities, you know what I'm saying, to make things happen. No, y'all are the celebrities that make things happen. So, speaking of that, I know you be a lot of places, in town, out of town. A little bit, you know, give us a little venture about, you know, because I know, I remember at one point, I ain't see you in a couple years. I ain't see you in a couple years, but you know, you was one of those young ladies that when we grew up together was like, she probably in Paris somewhere. she over here, and then you know some of your friends. I'm not going to name. I'll let you name them. They're just as famous, and they doing everything. You know. You know.
Shout out to Michael Powell.
Boom,
okay,
boom,
come on, Callie.
Boom. That boom, number one right there, Mike.
Okay.
You know, love you, bro. Love you. So, your experience with a lot of.
Shout out to Tyrone White. ATL.
Yeah. There you go. You done named Cali, ATL, you know, and I know you be doing your thing, you know, and I know celebrities done called you and you done hooked them up, you know. Miss Betty's son, Norwood.
Yes. Shout out to Norwood, yeah. Shout out to Dolores saying Snow.
See what I'm saying?
Okay. So, all of those people are the concrete. The concrete. I have been blessed. Shout out to some more. I have been blessed to be in the presence of some celebrities. And I blessed to have that experience. Victoria Schaefer, you know. I have been blessed to be in the presence of some very prominent people, dominant people in their fields. And the experience was wonderful. Now, I have had some platform work. I've done platform work. But when we were doing those things, there was no cameras following us. There was no people pulling out their cell phones.
Right.
Those things weren't happening back then.
Right.
If you were filmed, you saw it on their platform. Like I couldn't say, "Oh, so and so was filming me. Here I am." So there's a lot of things that stylists have done that hasn't been shown.
Right.
And sometimes you have to know people and know what they're doing in order to know what's happening. Now, everything is, on the internet. You can post everything, whatever you're doing, you can post it.
Right.
And now everybody can see it. The world can see it. When you did it, like you mentioned, skipping his hair shows. When we did the hair shows, people came from Baltimore, Philly, New York, but nobody was flying it. You know what I mean?
Right.
His base was wide because he had been in a lot of places. So people came from other places. I'm not going to say they didn't come from LA because some people did come from LA, but that was something to be a part of. Hair shows was something to be a part of. Being able to display your work. They were to let the world know, hey, I'm here. This is what I'm doing.
Right.
And this is how you can find me.
Right.
That was your advertisement. The hair shows are your advertisement. Now your advertisement, is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, so many other things they got going on. Now that's your platform. But before somebody had to recognize you, or you had to be in a group with other recognizable people for them to say, hey, I see you, I see what you're doing. I want to showcase you in your business. And everybody is attached to you. Right. And that's how that came about. And it was always a wonderful experience, always a nerve-wracking experience, but it was always a wonderful experience. I remember my first hair show. Shout out to Betty Young again. She instructed me on what to do. So I said, I don't know what to do. And she said, I'm going to tell you what to do. That's that concrete. When you have somebody to give you the instructions and don't mind, and give it to you plain, insightful, not all around the world, not big words, not, trying to confuse you or anything like that. Just straight, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to look. This is how you're going to represent yourself. And now go. And all you have to do is follow instructions. So my first hair show was actually with her, and she instructed me what to do. And it's kind of like just took off from there, blessings on blessings on blessings.
And when you came in, we had little words about the Cream magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, look, people, if you got any old Cream magazines, go through them. You will see hair shows. I mean,
Darren was everywhere. Everywhere.
I think I paid a ticket to go to a hair show before I went to a party, because the hair show did turn into a party afterwards, So
always.
Yes. So I don't see many, I'm not saying there aren't any. I just don't see many. But the hair shows, people, woo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
That can walk me right into what I'm working on, my new baby right now.
Yes,
when you say
yes.
You don't see hair shows anymore because the generation had changed. What the new generation was doing at the time changed. So it changed the dynamic of giving those type of shows. Like you said, we would have the show, we would have a party afterwards. But there was a shift in our generation that didn't allow us to continue in that manner. Excuse me. We came out, we had a good time. We enjoyed the show. A lot of our girlfriends was in the show. Our children were in the show. So we came out to see them and we enjoyed ourselves. And then afterwards, they say, well, stay a little longer. It's not done yet. We're going to have an after party. And we had a party.
Yes.
And after the party, everybody went home.
Yes.
Now, when the generation shifted, we wanted an after party, but something would happen in the middle of the show. or something would happen after the show to where we couldn't even have the after party because now there's things that are happening that's making everything unsafe.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that kind of diminished those type of things
Okay,
because now people are feeling like, oh, well, I would like to go, but am I going to make it home?
Mm.
Or my model's going to make it home? This is my husband, my wife, my girlfriend, my boyfriend. Are they going to make it home? Because there's going to be somebody, not just one, that's going to do something that's going to make everybody feel unsafe. So that takes me into my new baby called the winning logic.
The
winning logic theory. I want to say theory.
Okay.
Because it's my theory, but I think it's needed. I don't think anybody talks about it. And that's what made me want to talk about it.
No.
So my winning logic is, and I want to look at my notes because, like I said, it's a newborn baby, and you know what you got to do? You got to cradle that baby and make sure you learn everything about that baby so it can grow.
Right.
Now, I named it the winning logic because I feel like once you learn some things, you're winning. Knowledge is winning. It's knowing. Right. It's moving forward.
Right.
So when you're moving forward, you're winning. You know, you're not stagnant.
Right.
So when I came up with that word, I said, well, you know what? Everything has to have a meaning. Winning has to have a meaning. You just can't say, oh, we're winning over here. You think like, well, what you mean by that? Because everybody don't feel like winners. So I had to incorporate what I felt like winning is. And what I felt like winning is women intentionally narrating new identity, nourishing generations. I'll say it again. Women intentionally narrating new identity, nourishing generations. Now, who is the person that brings life? The woman. Who intentionally loves the child? The woman. Who begins to narrate how the child should be? Meaning, this is how you should act. This is what you should do. How would you spoon? Eat off a plate.
First teacher.
Right.
First, okay.
Now, when you get into the new is what the child is beginning to learn on their own. That's new. There are things that children pick up just from their surroundings that you don't teach them.
Of course.
So the identity, though, is what you give your children. And identity means I'm a parent, I'm a loving parent, I'm a hardworking parent, I take care of you, and you should appreciate the fact that I'm doing these things for you because this is what parents do. So you give them an identity to say, I should be appreciative and I should want to identify myself as my parent, right? Because what do we do when we grow up? We just repeat what we learned, right? Not necessarily meaning that's your identity, but a lot of times that's what you identify with. Right. What you saw, what you were taught. Right. Now the nourishing part also goes back to women. And I say because we are the first nourishers. If women want to choose to breastfeed, you have to nourish yourself to breastfeed the baby, to nourish the baby, right? I'm not saying fathers don't have to play in that, but of course they don't have breast milk to get a baby, right? Generations means the up and coming, the next after that. Our children are the next generation, their children are the next generation. Mm-hmm. So when I go into that, I'm just thinking about how we kind of missed the mark. You know what I mean? How some of us have been living in survival mode, and we haven't been nourishing. We haven't had purpose. We haven't been intentionally teaching purpose because we're in survival mode. Intentionally teaching purpose means purposely do something, right? Good. Mm-hmm. You know, when you wake up in the morning, today is going to be a good day. That's on purpose. Today I'm going to be my best in school. That's on purpose. Today I'm going to be kind to somebody. That's on purpose. Today I'm going to share. That's on purpose. That's intentional, right? There are good and bad intentions, but teaching someone their purpose is different. And I think a lot of times, like I said, survival mode in a lot of parents miss that mark. Now, I've had people that enter my life that have shown me purpose. They have nourished me. They have given me not identity, but helped me identify with certain things that otherwise I would not have, because you can only give your child what you have. Narrating is when I can't tell you everything. I can only tell you what I know. I can't write your story. But if I put you in a place where somebody can teach you how to write your own story, then you can narrate your own story. You can build your own identity. You can become anew. You can nourish your children.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? So, because I know some parents are restricted, and that's not a bad thing. They can only take you as far as they win. You know, I work a 9 to 5. I got good benefits, and that's what you should do. Grow up, graduate, get a job, work, get your good benefits, get your dental benefits, take care of yourself. If you have children, take care of them, and then retire. 35 years of your life, right? So what do you do when you tell your child that and they say, well, that's not what I want to do? But that's all you know. Now, what do you do with that? What you do with that is, what do you want to do? Well, I want to save animals. What should you say? Well, let's call a veterinary. So let me find you some information on how you can save animals.
Get you in the right direction.
Right, because I can't teach you how to save animals because that's not what I do.
Right.
So I want to send you in the right direction to get you to do what you want to do. Not say, you don't even know how to save no animals. You don't know what you're doing. Because that's the identity of your parents. Your parents don't know what they're doing because they ain't never want to save no animals. So, of course, they're giving you the identity of that. That's not going to work. You ain't going to be able to do that.
And then a kid will take that thing, well,
and
I can't do it.
Yes, and that's giving them your identity.
Right.
Instead of allowing them to form their own.
Right.
So when you think logic, and that's why it's called logic, because a logical thinker would say, well, I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to find somebody that do. I'm not going to stagnate you and tell you that's not something you should not do because I don't know it. No. Logical thinking is, well, let's find out how we do that.
Right. What I always, my kids, even my granddaughter, the sky's the limit. Mm-hmm. Whatever you want, I'm going to speak it into existence. I'm going to try to help you. You know, of course, kids change their mind every year. They, I want to do this one day. I want to do this. But guess what? I always encourage them. Whatever you want to do, I'm there to support. Mm-hmm. Again, help you with where's the classes at, where's school at. Mm-hmm. I'm going to support to help you get there. Now, that's me from the male point of view, as a father, point of view. But I get what you're saying. I really do. I get what you're saying. And for a parent to speak or allow themselves to say that to a child, a born child, a middle, a teenager. Come on, those are the wrong choice of words to use.
But if those are the only words you know,
they know.
So we're not going to judge.
We're not going to judge. But maybe they need some.
But what do you tell your parent when you are the child and you know what they always say? You do what I say, and you say, "Well, I don't want to do that," and the parent said, "Well, that's what you're going to do." Because that's all they know. You know, they don't go beyond what they know. And if anybody ever kind of pays attention and think back to their grandparents or their great-grandparents or their parents, and you ask them something that they didn't know, if they weren't a logical thinker and say, well, you know what, son, daughter, I don't know the answer to that, but let's go find out. Because back then you had to go to the library, you had to look it up. You couldn't Google them.
Yeah. We had
encyclopedias. We had dictionaries. So, we're going to get a dictionary. And if we don't have a dictionary, we're going to find you one. We go to the library, we're going to look it up. And we're going to find out what it exactly is you want to do. We're going to find out what it takes to do what you want to do. And then we're going to follow those steps. And once you see what you need to do, if that's something you still want to do, then we're going to move forward.
Right.
But if you have that, some parents didn't even finish high school. Some parents don't even know how to read. But they're not going to tell their child that because they feel like the child's going to look at them less than. Instead of saying, I made it as far as the 7th grade, son, daughter, but I want you to be greater than me. So because you want this, I'm gonna try to help you find it. I'm gonna talk to Uncle Charles. I'm gonna talk to Aunt Alice. I'm gonna talk to the neighbor. I'm gonna talk to Mr. John across the street and see if I can connect you to somebody that can give you what you need because I don't have all the answers. And it's okay not to have all the answers.
Right. Because
you can only take your child as far as you know.
I want you to be better than me.
And
I want you.
They're supposed to be.
Yes.
They're supposed to outgrow you. They're supposed to be better. They're supposed to be 10 times you. So I don't ever think that people even realize that they're stuck and they're stagnant and they stagnate their children. Because when you talk to a child that's not your child, and you say, hey, what you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. I'll probably just be like Mr. So-and-so and fried chicken and sell dinners. Is that what you want to do? Well, I don't know. That's what they do. Or I want to make some money. Prime example. Our 80s hustle crack era. A lot of those people said, I didn't really want to sell drugs, but everybody was selling drugs.
It was a fade.
So if I come outside and that's what I see, and I look at my mama and say, well, everybody else doing it, I'm going to do it too. And she was like, well, that's what you want to do. You going to jail. And you like this. Well, all right. That's all she know though.
Right.
She can't say no. You're better than that. You're bigger than that. You're smarter than that.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
Right.
You know, everybody's circumstances are different. Everybody had their reasons for why they did what they did. But a lot of people just followed and said, it's easy. They making money and they look good. But there's other things that you could have done, and you could have been looking just as good as them and been doing just what they did. But if nobody's telling you these things, your identity comes with, they getting the girls. I go to work every day. I'm just, not me personally, I'm just saying as an example. A woman, a girl. Now, I never, I'll be honest, I tried to sell drugs, but it didn't work. I couldn't deal with the people. But at the end of the day, if you go to work every day, and you might, when we was in high school, we handled jobs and we did make a little money. And it's that girl you like. And you always like this girl. And all of a sudden, Johnny down the street, he's a hustler now. Nobody never talked to Johnny. Nobody looked at Johnny. Johnny wasn't that dude, right? The girls talked to you because you was automatically that dude. You went to work though. Now Johnny got a car. He got a pocket full of money. He got all his jewelry. He said, hey, come over here and hang with me. And you looking at her like, no, we ain't together. Well, you gotta wait till you get paid. He got it right now. You know what I mean? So what are you thinking? Oh, he getting all the girls because he got it instantly. They want it now. So guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna quit that job because I don't want to wait till next week to get paid. I want to get paid every day like him.
And try to follow in Johnny.
And then you become that identity. That becomes your identity. Not even knowing that the slow is the best way. Building takes time. Fast don't last. As we see now, as we're older. But that nourishing them generations, that's where that comes from. Because somebody should have said, I'm going to tell you, don't do it.
Well, I want to chime in on that a little bit because it's almost about that time.
Okay.
But that is key. That is definitely key. And I think we both had grew up
In that era.
seeing in that era. We have been around. We have seen parents that said the same exact words that came out of their mouth. Like wow. And then there's some parents who did. Were there for the kids, encouraged the kids, said the right things to the kids so they could, in life. But definitely identity is a key, because a lot of kids don't want to be the ideal of their parents. They seen their parents working hard every day or struggling, trying to pay bills. Some kids see that for themselves and say, you know what, I don't want to do that. I want to do something. So when I do get to this point in life, I want my mother or father to take it easy. I want to send on vacations. I want to buy nice things, So, but there's another side to that too. That's when them Johnnies come into play. Oh, I get that quick money.
In the meantime.
Yeah.
Because we right here right now.
Right now.
That's later, but we going right here right now.
Yeah. But I know we had more to talk about, but we're gonna cut this short, love. And again, we was about to get deep. We got to get deep with it, man. Because
that's for another day.
That's for another day. Absolutely. You always welcome back. Always welcome back. And before we get up out of here, I just want to say to everybody, Juneteenth is actually tomorrow.
Oh, they're celebrating it tomorrow. They're recognizing it tomorrow?
Well, they're not really. They recognizing it on the 19th or the 20th.
But the actual date is the 10th.
To 10th, which is tomorrow.
Okay.
But they recognizing, so.
For the weekend, I'm sorry, for the weekend.
Just want to say happy Juneteenth. Okay.
Happy Juneteenth. And do your research on that.
Yes, because I'm ashamed to say, but I'm going to say it. I was living in Houston and didn't know too much about Juneteenth. That's where I learned it, But yes, do your history on Juneteenth and be safe, enjoy it the best way, or however you want to celebrate it, So, but anything you would like to say before we leave the show?
Oh, I would like to say you can find me on Facebook at Cheryl Lindsay, Instagram Diva Damone, House of Style. I am the greatest host of all time, so I do hostings. You can contact me on either one of those platforms. And happy Father's Day to all those great fathers out there. Keep doing what you do. Without you, we wouldn't be, because it takes both of us to bring forth life. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And I appreciate you for having me on your podcast. Thank you. I enjoyed myself, and I hope I gave information for people out there to understand and see. And of course, they can go back and watch it on YouTube.
Yes, YouTube. You can go back on YouTube. You can also go back on Facebook. So yes, you can always go back and watch.
Yeah. So I hope you received the information that I gave you, and of course, eventually I want this to be a curriculum. I think this is a life skill. I think not just children need to know it. I think young parents need to know it.
Absolutely.
You need to be okay with whatever you don't have. You need to be okay with somebody that has it to give it to your child, because knowledge is power, and holding it in or not having enough of it is just not an excuse. The more you learn, the more you share. And I'm going to end it on that.
Okay. So with that being said, we want to thank y'all for tuning in. Again, God bless, one love. See y'all next Monday, same time, same place. One Love Entertainment Podcast. You dig?
All right.
Peace.
Peace.